community. So I think
Hey,
if we
Ali,
all
let me
go
give you a
back to
quick
our own
history lesson
communities
in this
and
case.
start looking around,
Please.
trying to, help solve those murders, that we could continue on with this judicial idea that we have and hold the courts accountable for finding the people that are killing us.
Go ahead, Frank.
Let's go back to the beginning. Right after the shooting, George was taken down to the station, and there were 11 Sanford Police Department members, the chief of police, and the state attorney, all aggregately speaking, probably over 150 years of law enforcement experience. They decided not to charge George Zimmerman with any crime because they couldn't find probable cause. And it was only until Mr. Benjamin
let
me finish.
No, let's talk about those 11 police officers.
Are you gonna yak, or you want me to talk?
Frank,
okay?
Please finish, and then Miss Ali. Go ahead, Frank, finish.
Benjamin Crump wrote a letter, and you tell me when I'm off base here. Mr. Crump wrote a letter to the Department of Justice soon afterwards when there was no charges filed against George Zimmerman. In that letter, he stated that the Sanford Police Department had malfeasance on behalf of Mr. Zimmerman, who was a former magistrate with the somewhere in Virginia, up in Manassas, Virginia, and that he somehow compelled the state attorney and the chief of police not to charge George Zimmerman with any crime.
All right.
So guess what? They had no probable cause then, and they still don't have probable cause until you guys went out there and wrote the letters.
Well,
Miss Ali, go.
I think what happened is that since Zimmerman is going around passing for white, and I think it's the custom in all of those police departments not to arrest white men for killing black males, that they didn't want to deal with it. And they weren't going to deal with it until there was an outcry from our community.
Mark, help me out.
It wasn't portrayed that way in the beginning. I would like to know the nationalities of those 11 police officers you claim were there.
Mark.
First of all, I think that a date between these two is a horrible idea.
How dare you? I think it's a good idea.
Secondly,
how about one with you?
I think that this shouldn't be about race. It's about whether the prosecution has sufficient evidence to prove that this wasn't self-defense, and they don't. And it's that simple.
It's not that simple, though, guys, because it's generating passions. Jenny, you agree with this? All kinds of feelings about this case.
Yes, it is.
And I can pull up some Twitters here. Let me pick up a Twitter.
I got a scenario. I got a scenario.
I don't want to hear it, Frank. Hold on a second.
I got a good scenario.
Well, perhaps. Look at this Twitter. I'll put a Twitter up real quick. There are people, there's someone just right off my page, just looking straight down. Miss Ali speaking truth on Dr. So there are people that feel the way Miss Ali does. That's what's important here. So, Miss Ali, these passions that are being generated are above and beyond this case, are they not?
Well, that's because we have been here over 400 years, and I know that you all don't want to hear that. You don't want to talk about that. And we feel that we have been abused, and now you all don't want us anymore. We're not good for anything. You got the Latinos now, and they love America. We're still angry. We're carrying our grudges. You all can't get comfortable with us. And so this is a thing that whenever something like that happens and one of us get killed, we feel the same no sanctuary feelings. And it's, oh, massa, y'all done went and killed us again. And we feel that same thing inside of us. And it goes on and on. And then we get so frustrated we want to do something.
You know what? Let me speak here. So I'm up against the clock. I want to go to the break. She is, Miss Ali, it sounds awful what she's saying, but she is saying that that there's a trauma in her that gets revisited every time something like this happens. And that's legitimate. That is a legitimate feeling. It's a feeling, and that's something that can be dealt with.
Every history book in this country is a lie. Everything that has been written about who did what, who invented what, has been a lie. We do not get recognition or credit for anything we have contributed to this country. So don't talk to me about lying, because y'all are the biggest liars on the planet.
Trayvon was going back to whoop that.
Can you stop auditioning for a Fox gig for 10 seconds and let somebody else talk?
For us to just label people and race bait, I have a problem with that. It should be the soul of America that is hurting. Because Trayvon represents all of our children, black children and white children.
Love the way Penny said that. My co-host, of course, Samantha Shocker, and our panel. Joining us now is George Zimmerman's friend, outspoken supporter. You know him as Frank Taffy. Nancy knows him just as Taffy. And attorney and SiriusXM radio host Jenny Hutt. She joins us as well. Things got heated last night on the show. Emotions are still running high. But Miss Ali and Frank, you two, I need to be able to hear you guys, or our viewers need to be able to hear you, so please don't go on top of each other. All right? We start that as a ground rule, everybody?
I'll try.
Okay, Miss Ali?
Yeah, I'll try.
Maybe.
Okay, Miss Ali, I'll give you the
Maybe.
floor first. Do you have anything you'd like to say as a follow-on to last night?
Well, I think that sometimes when you're trying to get a point out, it gets a little excited. And I know sometimes I get a little excited, but I'm really trying to explain something. I always try to come out and defend black men. They are the original man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. We have a good man, but a lot of times in the media, the black man is always set up to be the worst guy on the earth and be bad. And he's not bad, he's good.
Okay, now,
I got something for you.
But Frank,
I got you something tonight.
Well,
okay,
Frank, please don't say anything. Don't
okay?
say anything derogatory,
take
Frank.
a chew on
Frank, do you hear me?
No. I got a fact here.
Okay,
and
but
Crystal brought it up earlier in the show.
But Frank, it doesn't make certain
that we really need to.
You're going to talk about the black-on-black violence? What are you going to talk about? I want to know what it is first before you go there. You worry me.
No. She brought up a point about family values.
Okay, go.
And the core family.
Okay.
That today in American society, 3 out of every 4 African-American babies are born out of wedlock. And it was it's a very valid point that she made.
Okay, I want to bring Crystal back.
It goes back to, we talk about incarceration.
Yeah.
And the fact that according to the FBI, African Americans make up 12% of our population, yet 50% of all violent crimes are committed by young black males. And that's a fact, Dr. Drew.
Okay, Frank.
And it
So
all
that's what y'all say.
interwoven
That's
with the
what
fact of
y'all
the core
say.
family.
Instead of using facts to further
No,
each
that's what
other's
the FBI
points, though,
said.
I know, I'm
That's what
saying.
the FBI
I'm not saying
said.
it's not a fact.
I didn't say it.
Frank, I'm not saying it's not a fact. Instead of using facts to further each other's points, and is it ignorant for me to say that? Why can't we try to better ourselves and look past all this racial tension and try to come up with a better America, a more evolved America? Is that not possible?
For you, Crystal.
That's
Crystal,
easy
I'm gonna answer for
rhetoric.
it.
Okay.
Wait, I want to have Crystal respond.
Every time we reach across the aisle.
Hang on, Frank. I want to have Crystal respond to this. And Crystal, I'm going to frame it in a way that maybe Miss Ali will even like, which Miss Ali carries in her heart the trauma of 400 years. Is it possible that trauma is still being transmitted through these family systems? And if so, how do we heal that? Because what Frank is saying, you would probably agree with factually. I would say as a clinician, that's a problem that needs to be healed, not even so much a social problem. I see it as an issue of trauma and family systems. You tell me. Crystal.
Okay, I think, I agree with a lot of what you said, Dr. Drew. I think there's 2 things, and I agree with what Samantha said and Frank, and I agree with everybody tonight on some point. We need to look at each other as individuals, Shahrazad, and we also need to look at, like Frank said, the ills that are dragging down black Americans. And Dr. Drew, I don't think it's emotional. I think we have to call it what it is. We need to be encouraging young black men to get married and take responsibility for the love of their life. Because we're all products of parents, I guarantee you. Shahrazad, Frank, Samantha, Dr. Drew, and me. And if we're not products of parents, we learned along the way because people told us that certain behavior was not acceptable.
Absolutely.
So it's not acceptable, like Frank said, to have out-of-wedlock births. It's
got it.
not.
Jenny, you've been doing jumping jacks. Hang on, Frank.
Jumping jacks because I feel like nobody really listens to one another. So the first thing that Ms. Ali had said was that black men are good men. I kind of feel like if Frank had just said, listen, Ms. Ali, you're right. Black men are inherently good men, just like all men are inherently good men.
Yes.
It would have a whole different tone. Everything else
No, they're not.
thereafter.
No, they're not.
There's
All
no
men are not
sort
good.
of mirroring behavior that recognizes what
OJ wasn't.
Anyone is saying, I feel like. So, and to Crystal's point, frankly, emotions are often at the root and the base of everything we as human beings do.
Yes, Miss Ali, go ahead.
Can't deny
I agree,
that.
Jenny. Miss Ali.
Yes. Well, I think I think we have to look at the root of the problem of our broken families. If somebody's ancestors had not drugged us here, destroyed our families, tore our babies from our breasts, destroyed our man, and even today, if you want to help the black man so bad, then level the playing field and allow him to compete for a job.
Let it go, man.
Okay, Frank.
Open your heart and let the peace and healing start.
But Frank, Frank,
y'all don't have no peace and healing.
Frank, how do we do that? Frank, I want to give you of all people, give us some way that people can do that. It's not like, hey, a magic wand and people feel traumas go away. How do we? It's a very complex issue, Frank. And so, how do you do it?
Okay, acceptance is the answer today to all our problems, Dr. Drew, and we got to realize, we as human beings, we have no control over other people, places, or things. So if we accept what's right in us first, we might start accepting what's right in other people.
Okay, I think, Miss Ali, he said something profound. Again, the delivery, you might miss it if you're not careful. But he said accountability for what's in our own hearts first. Do you agree with that, Miss Ali?
Right. Did he say that?
Well, I'm not in total disagreement with that.
That's
but we
right.
first have to
I
level
know
the
that.
playing field.
There we go.
You all always want to shut us out.
Don't want to shut you out, Miss Ali. I want you to come back tomorrow. I want you to come back tomorrow. You're shutting me out.
Miss Ali, what do you need to heal? Miss Ali, what do you need to heal and start giving people more of the benefit of the doubt that's not just from the black community? What do you need to heal?
Well, first of all, there is no benefit in doubt. Doubt creates suspicion and distrust. So I don't know who made that up about the benefit of doubt. There's no benefit in doubt.
But I also think
here's what the solution is.
Too many assumptions.
Here's the solution. I'm going to give you the solution.
Okay, let's all listen.
The solution.
Wait, Ali first, and Frank, you're going to take me home. Go ahead, Miss Ali. The solution.
The solution to the problem, between black and white in America, and it's not going to be one that anybody likes. The solution is separation. We're going to have to separate. We can't get along in peace.
Oh, Miss Ali, you're breaking my heart. You're breaking my heart. I don't want to be separated from you. I don't want to be separated from Miss Ali.
That's called Jim Crow.
Crystal, Frank, take me home. I hope.
Okay.
No, that's not called Jim Crow.
You know
that's called like we were before y'all drug us over here.
Frank.
Martin Luther King died for us to realize the promise of equality. Martin Luther King died for us to realize the promise of equality.
And you want to take us back 400 years.
Go, Frank, I want you to take me. Frank, easy, Frank. Take us home.
Okay, I'll be gentle.
Thank you.
Miss Ali, don't set us back 400 years, okay? You know, it's one day at a time here, okay? As we all trudge the road towards happy destiny. Amen.
You're using some interesting language, Frank. We'll have to talk later. I'm just saying. But another thing, Miss Ali, remind you, you said in 40 years we're going to be genetically all so diverse we're not going to know who's us and who's them anymore. And we started this conversation there. So I think separating us, I'm not sure. That just breaks my heart.